Okay, today we're going to be filming Kids Paris. It's right here. It's an Eiffel Tower at night with some shrubbery and some buildings in the background. It's pretty cute. Got some Vincent van Gogh stars in there. Alright, so the first thing that you want to do is mark off your shrubbery. There we go. So we want it to be like the shrubs, like we're looking up at the Eiffel Tower and the shrubs are around it. So you're going to come up a little bit higher on the edges, and it's not just going to be a straight line. It's going to be almost like a wave. And so now we're going to put in our Eiffel Tower. And the easiest thing to do, because again we're looking up at it, it's going to be curved just a little bit. Start us off a big line this way and this way. A horizontal here, so it kind of looks like we have a really big A on our canvas right now. And we're just going to put a smaller horizontal line up top. So it's like a really big A with another horizontal line up top. And now we're just going to thicken it. Alright. So now we're going to fill in our Eiffel Tower. We're going to do the Eiffel Tower first and then come around with our background color. That's not what we normally do, but because we're working with a lighter color for our Eiffel Tower than with our sky, that's going to be what is the most successful. And so we're going to use yellow with some white. And we're going to use that medium brush, our mama brush. Just mix that in. The white's going to help it not be quite as translucent as normal. And then you just want to start filling it in. Okay, so we've got our Eiffel Tower filled in. And now, because this is what we don't want to jump into the background, we're going to go ahead and put in our shrubbery. Yeah. You want to save this yellow because we'll need it to mix orange later. Yellow, a little bit of blue in that first yellow, and a little white on its own. We're going to mix our greens. Alright, so you should have 3 distinct greens on your brush. Not on your canvas yet. And now with our background brush, just because it won't take quite as long, we're going to fill in our shrubs down here. Again, your background brush is that larger square brush. Start with your medium, and we're just going to fill in all of our shrubs with that plain medium right now. We'll come back in and shadow and highlight. Okay, so we're going to let that dry just a little bit because I don't want to just move paint around. You need to give it a little bit of drying time. So now we're going to move into our background, our purple background. Again, do not throw this plate away because we're going to need it. But it is going to be easier to grab a new plate. So we're using this fluorescent violet, but fluorescent colors by nature on their own are super transparent. So we're gonna doctor it up a little bit because, okay. So I've got my fluorescent purple, a squirt of red, half a squirt of blue, and a little bit of white. So now that you've got this mixed, you just want to fill in your entire background with this color. Being very careful around here. I'm using my background brush. I'm going to be using it in big long strokes like this. But when it comes to around the Eiffel Tower, I'm turning it on its side to get a really nice, clean, crisp line. And I'm just going to really take my time. I can do this because I've had the practice. Some kids are going to be more comfortable using their medium brush or even their detail brush to pre-outline everything. You can do that for sure, whatever makes them feel the most comfortable, but that's just going to take up more time. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to be really careful with my background brush, just like this. Alright, so we've got our background done. I am going to clean my paintbrush and stick it in some water. So our grass is still a little bit wetter, or a little bit wet. God. So I'm not going to go into that yet. I'm going to go back into the Eiffel Tower. And what we're going to do is go back to that yellow that we had mixed previously and add some red. I got red and white in a pile, and I'm going to take a scoop of this yellow. I'm not going to use all of it because I might need it later, but I'm going to mix myself an orange. Okay, so now with this orange paint, we're going to come around our Eiffel Tower and outline it and put our cross sections in there, these little X's. So you must be very careful. It's okay if you pick up a little bit of purple, but we want to try to avoid it because it's just going to make a brown. So here I picked up a little bit purple, and then I just am wiping my paintbrush off. So you'll definitely want to show the kids how to do this first. And it's also very important that they are not continuing these lines upward, that they are outlining just the crossbars or the cross section, because that is what makes it look like it is going on the side of it, and not that these lines are going through it. Like, we don't want to continue these lines through it. Go ahead and outline everything first. I'm refilling my paintbrush every brush stroke. So now we need to come back in and add our X's. And these are just on the ones going almost vertically. We'll call these the horizontal ones, and we'll call these the vertical ones, even though they're technically sideways. So we're going to be careful up here because this little part's got a little triangle in it, and that's going to be where these meet up at the top, because the Statue of Liberty, the Eiffel Tower is basically a big triangle. So these get our X's, and inside the triangle they get little horizontal lines. Make sure that you're telling the kids not to press down hard with this paintbrush. The lighter you press down, the thinner your line. The harder you press down, the thicker your line. So now we'll go back to these horizontal bars, and they're gonna get vertical and horizontal lines painted in. Again, not pressing down very hard. This bottom one is special. It doesn't get that horizontal line. We get these vertical ones. And then we're gonna draw a straight line right through that purple background. And this is like a little bridge. So there we go. Putting a little bit of color underneath here, because that's going to act like a shadow. Nothing perfect, just a little swipe of color. Alright, so now our green is more dry. Clean your mama brush, dry it. And now you're going to go into your dark green. And I start by outlining the top. This isn't going to be like a perfectly accurately shaded painting because it's for little kids. So keep that in mind. And then we're just going to make fun little humps down here with the dark. And you can do little ones, big ones, long ones, short ones. 1, 2, 3. As many as you want. So after you do that, come back in with your yellow on your mama brush. And we're just going to do the exact same thing. Like little humps all in here. You can like paint over some of the dark that you made. You can go right up underneath it. You just want to add some in here. Very cute. Alright, our background is still a little bit wet. So a point like this would be really good to take a break and maybe they can eat or open presents or something. I'm going to give this just a second to dry, and then we'll come back and do this next part. Okay, we've had some dry time on it, so now we're going to be able to go back into it. We need to add in our buildings here, and we're going to make them blue because I think that will look nice. And now we're going to add in our cityscape. So it's going to follow this round kind of curved shape that we made. So keep that in mind. So coming up on the edge up here and then being smaller down here. So with that same brush, go ahead and fill all of these in. I'm going to take some plain blue and kind of go in and give myself like a little outline. Okay, so now we are going to go back to our yellow, the same one as the Eiffel Tower. And again with our mama brush, we're gonna put some dots up here. Alright, so now we're going to take we're going to take our baby brush, our small detail brush, and we're going to go right around our circles and add like little wisps of this yellow. You can do short ones, you can do long ones. Alright, so let's see where we're at. So now all we need to do is add some windows into our buildings. That's the word I'm looking for. And again, we're going to use that same yellow. I mean, at this point, we are almost out. So if you do need to mix a little bit more, I understand. I'm going to throw a little white in mine just to cheat just a little bit. Maybe even some green. Okay, that was a bad idea. Alright, so now we're just going to take our mama brush, that medium brush, and put one brush stroke worth of, like I'm not going back and I'm not painting over and over it, I'm just using my paintbrush and putting one little swipe where I want a window to be. I'm refilling my brush often because that blue is still a little bit wet and I don't want to make green. Awesome. Super cute. Now we're going to do the outline just to bring it all together. Excuse me again, jeez. And that's going to be plain black that has been thinned down to an ink-like consistency. And we're just going to really carefully go over everything. I'm not going to really outline my stars at all. I mean, you'll see when I get there, but anyway. Yeah, here we go. All done. Super cute.